I tell you, didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I...
Difference? Religion ain't got nothing to do with the revolution. You know, or it's religion that keeps us divided.
Named after the explorer Amerigo Vespucci, but this appears doubtful, like so much of American history, which has transformed a one-time pirate of the family name Griego into an iconic hero named Christopher Columbus. As for America, according to Manly Hall, America is named after the plumed serpent, who is the messenger of the sun. He was the god Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, and in Peru he was called Amaru. From the latter name comes our word America. Amaruca is, literally translated, land of the plumed serpent.
While 14
Moorish people at that point by these initiates. And that America was Almaricanos. We got the name America from Almaricanos, not from Amerigo Vespucci. And Almaricanos means El Morocco. And that Morocco was the Sultanate of Morocco was the ruler of America at one point. Now, this goes back into a very deep history.
He also knows that
people don't.
It was not called Black Muslim at that time.
Now, what's interesting about Noble Ali is that most people don't know that out of his death arose a man called Wally Fard. And Wally Fard has an FBI file and a very obscure lineage. Like, he seems to come from Hawaii. He might have some Polynesian blood in him. He seems to have some white blood in him. He doesn't seem to have any black blood in him. He might, but he doesn't seem to. Yet he becomes the head of this Moorish Science Temple. And then he picks Elijah Muhammad to be the head of the new reorganization, which is the church, what do they call it? The Church of Islam? Nation of Islam. Not church yet. Nation of Islam.
Difference? Religion ain't got nothing to do with the revolution. You know, or it's religion.
The truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Difference? Religion ain't got nothing to do with the revolution. You know.
The fallen ones, the fallen gods, Lucifer, the fallen god. What it means by fallen? You were once in the spiritual realm. Then the vibration slowed down and you gradually took on a physical body. You are the damn fallen gods. You are the titans, the titans. The word hell comes from the word Hayel. Hayel means physical earth. Hylix, physical people, physical body. You live in hell. It means the physical realm.
Black, knock 'em out the box, black, knock 'em out, black, knock.
You're entitled to. Thank you, and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. You know the truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Difference? Religion ain't got nothing to do with the revolution. You know, or it's religion that keeps us divided. Right. Shut up, fool. Right. Religion keeps us divided. Politics keeps us divided as well.
Right.
A nigger Republican and a nigger Democrat. Nigger Republicans don't get along with nigger Democrats.
Right.
And nigger Democrats don't get along with nigger Republicans.
Right.
Economics keeps us divided. Socialism, communism, capitalism, imperialism, expansionism, globalism, globalization. There's so many ways to divide us.
Right.
Some of you say, when you talking about picking up the gun, We can't pick up the gun, the white man got a bigger gun. Well, yeah, he may have a bigger gun, but that's no reason for you not to stand up in self-defense and fight for your freedom and independence and take your God and your gun.
I tell you, didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Black, knock 'em out, black, knock 'em out the box, black, knock 'em out, black.
Tell the truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled.
Named after the explorer Amerigo Vespucci, but this appears doubtful, like so much of American history, which has transformed a one-time pirate of the family name Griego into an iconic hero named Christopher Columbus. As for America, according to Manly Hall, America is named after the plumed serpent, who is the messenger of the sun. He was the god Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, and in Peru he was called Amaru. From the latter name comes our word America. Amaruca is literally translated land of the plumed serpent.
While 1492 is
People don't.
It was not called Black Muslim at that time.
Now, what's interesting about Noble Drew Ali is that
Moorish people at that point by these initiates, and that America was Almaricanos. We got
Black, knock 'em out, black, knock 'em out the box, black, knock 'em out, black, knock 'em out the box, black, knock 'em out, black.
The fallen ones, the fallen gods, Lucifer, the fallen gods. What it means by fallen? You were once in the spiritual realm. Then the vibration slowed down and you gradually took on a physical body. You are the damn fallen god. You
Tell the truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
the fallen ones, the fallen gods, Lucifer, the fallen gods. What it means by fallen? You were once in the spiritual realm. Then the vibration slowed down and you gradually took on a physical body. You are the damn fallen gods. You are the titans. The word hell comes from the word Hayel. Hayel means physical earth. Hylix, physical people, physical body. You live in hell. It means the physical realm.
You're entitled to. Thank you, and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Difference? Religion ain't got nothing to do with the revolution. You know, it's religion that keeps us divided. Shut up, fool. Religion keeps us divided. Politics keeps us divided as well. A nigger Republican and a nigger Democrat. Nigger Republicans don't get along with nigger Democrats. And nigger Democrats don't get along with nigger Republicans. Economics keeps us divided. Socialism, communism, capitalism, imperialism, expansionism, globalism, globalization. There's so many ways to divide us. Some of you say, when you talking about picking up the gun. We can't pick up the gun, the white man got a bigger gun. Well, yeah, he may have a bigger gun, but that's no reason for you not to stand up in self-defense and fight for your freedom and independence and take your God and your gun.
Out the book. No. Shout out my haters, man. This is the punches for you. You hate me because I'm doing me what you do. You. I said I'm so sick when I spit every verse with flow. These niggas my sons because they watch whatever I do. Well, maybe you hating, you need to get round for me. There's no conversation, you won't get no sound from me. My motivation is just that you waiting. Right out the you, I'm feeling the greatest. My nigga be hating, my nigga be hating.
The flower moon is so great. Killers government to determine what it is. And you have whole committees of people in your agency trying to determine what they define as false or misinformation. It's not true. Well, then what is true? Please enlighten us. What we do is we disclose the tactics that adverse nation states are utilizing to weaponize. No, sir. No, sir. The court found specifically it's a finding of fact that is not disputed by the government defendants, the Biden administration, your agency, the FBI, or DHS, not in the litigation. They determined you and all of your cohorts made no distinction between domestic speech and foreign speech. So don't stand there and tell me under oath that you only focused on.
People in the world, and I'm not going to get into all of the details about that, but the majority of the people in the world, 99% of them live in slavery today. So in 1863, via the Emancipation Proclamation, and I challenge you to go look in a law dictionary and look up the definition of emancipation and proclamation, and you will see that a proclamation is not a law. A proclamation is a public announcement by elected officials. It is not a law. So the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not set any slaves free. What it did was standardize slavery, the United States being the model for the standardization of slavery, that all of the other nations around the world, as they reduced their people from their sovereign capacity and forced them to join nation states, then they were able to issue statute, codes, ordinances, resolutions on them. And a statute, as in a state statute of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is not a law. It is corporate policy of the corporation that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated. All right? Now, a code is not a law. The United States codes, the code of the laws of the United States of America that are used in federal court and the Supreme Court are not law. They are what they say they are. They are codes, ordinances, and resolutions of a municipality of the city of Philadelphia, which is a private nonprofit corporation that calls itself the City of Philadelphia. An ordinance and a resolution, as in parking ordinances, they are not law. They are what they say they are. All right? And the reason they are not law is because the only people who can issue law are people who are acting in their sovereign capacity. And the people who sit in these seats as elected officials are not, in fact, in their sovereign capacity. They are in a corporate ward status, meaning that they are wards of the state. They are members of the corporation, which is a nonprofit that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And as long as they have a birth certificate on record with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, with that birth a member of a corporate ward state, if you are a member of a corporate ward nation that calls itself the United States of America, you are a citizen. Look in the law dictionary and look up the definition of citizen. A citizen is not a sovereign. A resident is not a sovereign. Therefore, if you use an address, which is a fictitious number associated with a designation issued by a corporate ward, then you become under the jurisdiction of those people who are also corporate wards, but who are also slaveholders. All right? So if you are operating in that capacity, law does not apply to you. If you are a resident of the city of Philadelphia, which is a private nonprofit corporation, and you say you are a resident of the city of Philadelphia, then the ordinances and the resolutions of that private nonprofit corporation apply to you. If you are a citizen of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated, which is a private nonprofit corporation, then the statutes of that nonprofit corporation apply to you. If you are a citizen of the United States of America, which is a private nonprofit corporation, then the code of the laws, right, apply to you. But if you are a sovereign of the Moorish Empire, those ordinances, those resolutions, those codes, those statutes do not apply to you because you are not a member of the corporate ward state. It's as simple as that. And they understand the difference. This is why on their documents, they use words of art. They use the word label, they use the word person, they use the word address. All of these things that place you in their jurisdiction, and you unknowingly fill out forms every day. And every time you fill out a form, you enter into a contract. I don't care what kind of form it is. It's a contract. A driver's license application is a contract. A social security application is a contract. When you call up the telephone company and you make a verbal contract over the telephone, this is why they can bill you. When you sign a deed, it is a contract. When you fill out a voter registration form, it is a contract. Does everybody understand that? Don't ever think anything that you put your signature on becomes a contract. All right? Now, the fact that you are not in your sovereign status means that you make a contract
some of the basics of what they talk of as numerology. Now, I've broken down many calendars, or glyphs, if you will, from all around the world. This is another one, known as the Dendera chart. And this is actually showing the same thing as that Mayan tablet, which matches the Bible exactly, of what's known as the head wound of the Bible and the beginning of the Great Tribulation. When the parable of the 10 virgins, there are 5 wise virgins and 5 foolish virgins. The 5 wise virgins go on to this eagle here and are raptured away. But right here you can see where Jesus is setting this person onto here with these spikes representing the head wound of the Bible coming. And you can see 33 here. Today we're going to show how 1111 actually works out to 33. We will show all of that. 33, when turned around, means everyone else. On this side is the rapture, the 5 wise virgins, and on this side is everyone else. See how they have to lose their head? This is the FEMA camps, almost like the Nazis rising back up again. But all of this is right here. So we're going to coordinate that all together and show that about the numbers. 33 lot of symbolism and things since the beginning of history. Jesus Christ was 33 when he died. You can go into this here, the mathematics of everything, the astronomy of it, and even in religion. Like the divine name Elohim appears 33 times in the story of creation in the opening chapters of Genesis. Jesus' age when he was crucified in 33 AD. Jesus performed 33 recorded miracles. Islamic prayer beads are generally arranged in sets of 33.
The truth.
Is not only
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
but also the numerical.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
One of these was that, where is that?
You're entitled to. Thank you, and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
But so let's keep on going here, and now we will show how this coordinates to all of these different numbers. Okay, let's bust a move on this 33. Let's show what this means. It means a date. Well, how can you get a date out of 33? There are not 33 days in a month. Let's show how this goes. Remember how we talked about gematria? I need to figure out how to pronounce that correctly. But it's assigning the numbers to letters. All three. So, this is how 33, as we showed before, ends up as EE. Everyone else, right here, 33. Right down here. And when you turn this around, in numerology, it's more than just the way that it looks or what it's supposed to be. When you turn this around, it makes an EE. Well, in gematria, where you change numbers to letters, 3 is a C. So 33 is CC. Well, now when it's EE, turned around, everyone else, this is how we get the date, 22. E equals 5. A, B, C, D, E. 5. 55. When you look at 55 and you turn it back around, you get 22. And this is why you hear a lot about 22. The reason they will say 23 a lot of times is because of 2 3s, making 33. This is how complicated it gets when you get into deciphering things like this. But it all coordinates correctly. And now we need some way to prove the case. Well, let's do it. Let's prove the case. SS also makes 55. When you look at it, a 55 can look like an SS. See the SS, just like the Nazis rising up, which can also be, for the Nazis, where's their thing? This is the Nazi runic symbols. For SS, or for the SS squad, it's right here, 11. This is their symbol. See this? For the SS, 11. So that's how you get 11, 11, which equals 22, which equals 55, which equals 33. And this is how they do these things, flipping them around, turning them over. 22 is 55. Let's prove the case. Junior Seau was murdered in Oceanside. He represented everything that's coming that I keep showing about the end of the age. He wore number 55. He lived near Camp Pendleton, right where I keep showing that this is where they're going to do the big hit on the United States of America. This man somehow committed suicide by shooting himself in the chest with a shotgun. That's not really possible. And then they even had a big story about him donating his head to be researched. It symbolized the end of the age coming, the big hit that happens down near Camp Pendleton, and then even the beheadings starting. 11/11/55. It is the 21st and the 22nd of some month. We don't know the exact month. We don't know the exact year. But on the 21st, they keep showing that is going to be the rapture of some month. We're breaking all of this down. At somewhere on the 21st, this part happens, where everybody gets on the eagle. Because 33 means everyone else, and this means 22. Everyone else goes off to the beheadings. It's been shown over and over and over again. This is Google Earth right here. And in the Bible, it talks of a statue like this, representing the old world order. And this stone comes and falls, breaking everything apart, starting the Great Tribulation. Everything is mapped out, and nothing is left for chance. Right here in the United States, you can see this man perfectly. His hat, his face, his belly, which even represents the birth right here, and then his foot, the old world order. And when something happens to him, next comes the guillotines. See how Oklahoma is in the perfect shape of an axe? Nothing is random or for chance. There he is. Down here at his foot, this shows that the rapture happens at that same time. This eagle flies away. Right there. Perfect. Perfect. Everything right in line. At this same time, you can see right here the 21. Perfectly. Here is the eagle. And there's the 21. Right there. Perfect. And as I've shown, like even on Snow White, Seven Dwarves, or the Lone Ranger show about the Raven coming at that
You're
time.
entitled to.
Like Lady Gaga, the Raven being released.
You're entitled to. Thank you.
Right
and went
there.
on your way. Tell the
Raven.
truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
Can't fake this. There is the Raven. Perfect. And all perfectly in line with Scripture. Everything. This even represents the dome coming. All of that right there. Because you can see in here the wedding. Here is the bride, and here is the husband, and the electricity translating us out. Right there. It all happens over this big dome down near Camp Pendleton. And San Onofre. Oh no, he's free. Right then and there. And you can see the 21 right there. I've mapped out the whole world like this. Everything is perfect. Even after this rises the guy known as the Little Horn, wearing this hat and carrying this gun. Perfect. All in order. 21. 22 means 33. Because 33 is also the 33-degree parallel where the fallen angels descended. Well, right where this big dome is in this event, it's right here. So you can see right here, this is right where San Onofre is and Camp Pendleton, and it's right at the 33-degree parallel, right there. So it's real and it's all around us. This is what we keep showing. And now we found out that 33 equals 22, which equals the SS 11:11. Confess with your mouth, the Lord is Jesus. Believe in your heart, God hath risen him from the dead, and you'll be saved. Hallelujah. Thank you very much, everybody. So that's how we get it. 33 makes EE. E is 5 for 55, which can also look like an S for the SS, which makes a 22 when you turn it back around. Just as when you see everybody going for the V, VV, 2, 2, or an 11, 11. This is how we consistently keep showing this over and over again, that that's what it means. 22 means everyone else. Thank you very much, everybody.
In London. Yeah, no, serious. No, it is. It's on the London Stock Exchange. You go to the London Stock Exchange and look up the stocks of the major, what they call the major corporations, the big ones. And one of the biggest one is Islam Incorporated. It's a religious corporation called a Corporation Soul. It's a company. It's a business.
Oh, Soul? Like Soul as in like the...
S-O-L-E, Corporation Soul. Have you ever heard the word Corporation Soul?
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay, write this down.
Yeah.
It's called Corporation Soul. S-O-L-E. What that is, it's hard to explain. But are you by your computer right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What a Corporation Soul is, it was developed by the Vatican.
The truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer
it became a very, very
You want
popular
answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the
truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Called a Corporation Soul, and what it is, it's a position. It's a position in politics. It's a corporation, but it's called Corporation Soul because it's an office. The United States, the President of the United States, it doesn't matter who's in there at the time, but there is a position in power called the President of the United States, and so whoever happens to be in there at the time, it doesn't matter who the president is, but there's an office called President of the United States.
Yeah.
And so there's always some dumbass fuck is in there doing something. There's always some dumbass fuck in there doing something, And but it doesn't matter who's in there. What matters is it's an actual office, and there has to be somebody in there continually.
Some dumbass.
And so, all right. Well, the President of the United States office is called in law a Corporation Soul, meaning it's an office. It's an office, an official office, like in the Catholic Church. There is an office called cardinals, and there may be different cardinals. Some die, and some new ones coming in, and the others die, and some new ones coming in. But there is an office in the Catholic Church called cardinals. So there's always some cardinals there. There's also an office called Pope, and there's always going to be somebody in there who's Pope. But it doesn't matter who's in there. It's the office that's called the Pope. And then there's also an office in there called priest. So they're going to have priests coming in and priests going, priests dying, priests coming in.
And they usually have their own
office. Yeah, but I'm talking about an office.
Yes, I know.
Office.
Yes.
Okay. That's why the cops are called police officers. Because they are working in an office, police officer, and the office is a corporation soul, meaning it's a company designation of an office, and when that office always has different people coming in and going, but it doesn't matter how many people come in to president and how many people go out. Doesn't matter. It's still an office of government called the President of the United States. And so there's also an office called Congressman. So there's a lot of people come in to be Congress, and they die and they leave, and other people come in, but they're always called Congressman because that's the office. Well, you can set up, Americans can set up a corporation soul. They're the only people in the world that are ordinary citizens can set up a corporation sole. Around the world, only the royalty and only the wealthy and most powerful people around the world can set up a corporation sole. But in America, because of the Constitution, the way it was written, Americans, U.S. citizens, have the right to set up a corporation sole. It's strange, but that's the way the Constitution was read, so that we have in America the ability to set up a corporation sole. Anybody can. Now, when you set up a corporation sole, what that means is that you're setting up an office. You're setting up an office, and you're going to call that office whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is, whatever term you can. I'll tell you where to go read all about it. But the point is, once you set up that office, get the paperwork done to the State Department, the United States State Department. You set up the office, and now you control that office. So therefore, the corporation sole, you now have one, and it's an office, and it's called the Jamel Research Society or whatever, and whatever you call it. And then it's there. Now it's there forever. It can never be undone. It can never undo it. It's there forever. It doesn't mean that it has to have anybody in it. No, it doesn't have to have anybody in it, but the office still is there. And so once you set up the office, you can take your home, your car, your family, anything and everything of any value, and you give it to the office. You dedicate it to the office. And at that point, you no longer own it forever. It's gone from you. You no longer own your home, your car, nothing. But the office of the Research Society, or whatever it is you call it, now owns everything. And you don't own anything. And so it's a corporation of sorts, but it's called a corporation sole because there's only one person who has control over that new office, and that's you. So you have control over the office, but you don't own it, and you don't own nothing in it. It owns everything. You own nothing, but you control the office. So therefore, what that means is that you put your home in the corporation sole, and it does. You can do this easy. Just go down to the State Department, go down to the state building in your city, go.
Signature on becomes a contract. All right? Now, the fact that you are not in your sovereign status means that you make a contract.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer
as a minor.
You want to answer?
They don't care. They know you are a minor because, and to be other than a minor, you have to be in your proper person at law. And how we write that is this: in propria persona. When you are in your corporate ward status, you look like this to the court. Pro se. Pro se meaning they get you in the court and they bring someone in called a got that? Pro se cuter, prosecutor, because you're in a corporate board status. Now, if you're in propria persona, saying there are criminal allegations, the prosecutor cannot come into the courtroom and say anything to you because you're not in pro se status. The issues of law are threefold. The issues of law are status, jurisdiction, jurisdiction, and adjudication. The first thing that happens when you walk into a courtroom in your corporate ward status is that they already make the assumption that you are a ward of the state and that you don't know any better. So they immediately start adjudicating you. As Moors, the first thing that happens when we walk into a courtroom is that we place our status on the record. On the record. We come in with our
representatives are currently assisting other customers. Please remain on the line. One moment, please. Thank you for calling Carbon Lotus. Thank you.
How you doing? I don't know if I just spoke to you about the personal checks.
Who authorized the check?
Okay. I was just speaking to someone about personal checks, but I was on hold too long, so I figured let me try to call back again.
Yeah, I'm working by myself, so I had and all the calls. I couldn't just, so I just put you on hold trying to take care of those calls.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to hold you from your business, but this is really important to me because I'm using this as evidence that that I am not a name. I'm only authorized to use the name appearing on legal documents, which I submitted in order to have this account opened.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to know if Carver Bank would find, something like that erroneous, because I did establish an account based on those facts to a gentleman named Todd Brown.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted a checkbook because the checkbook has this evidence that concurs with what I told this gentleman prior to opening the account.
Yeah.
That the name that the account is in is not me, but I'm called by that name, and I'm the only one authorized by the government to use that name and the documents that name appears on.
Yeah.
But I am not a name, I am a man. And so if we're recognizing law as two different entities, then it would make sense that the account holder, which is the name, authorizes me because I'm the only one that can sign for a name.
Yeah.
Just like Carver Bank.
Tell the truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
It is recognized by the law as a person.
Authorizing you. You're authorizing the name.
Right, because the government authorizes me to use the documents that name appears on. And I'm further authorized to sign that checkbook. So it makes me an agent.
Yeah.
Because an agent is one that is authorized to do a thing. So if I'm the agent, it means that the principal is liable for my actions. But I'm not liable. The principal is liable because I'm the agent, meaning I'm doing what I'm doing on behalf of the principal.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure this is straight because I'm going to use a checkbook, a personal checkbook, as evidence to show that I act as an agent in relationship to that name, and I'm the only one authorized to use that name to do commercial transactions. Okay, so you are aware of this authorized signature microprint line?
Yes.
Okay. All right then. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
you for your patience.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. There we go. One more proof you need. We're going to take this straight to court, baby. That's it, folks. We are authorized to sign for the name on a checkbook which shows that we are the agents and authorized representatives of the legal name appearing on the top left-hand corner of each and every single personal check.
It's very important. And so if you're Moore, and let's say somebody else is Manchurian, and I'll get to that in a minute, when you have two people of different standings in the courtroom, you have to decide what law applies. Is there a treaty between the two? Do they have a constitution?
Fidelity.com. Click web browser here. In order for you to do this, you're going to need your birth certificate from the title department, vital statistics, vital statistics, and vital records department on the birth state. So we have a BC by number.
There's nothing else that you need to say. There's nothing else to be said. Stand mute. Let them proceed, because guess what? They cannot proceed. In the courtroom, as I have learned because I've spent a lot of time there, right? There is a language of silence. After you've said what you need to say, don't say anymore. They will do the rest when you stand on your square. That's all you need to do. There's no need to stand there and argue with the judge, and trust me, I've done that. All right? And once you say what you need to say, they know everything else to do. But understand, they do not want you exposing the truth to their corporate wards, because every slave that you take out of their corporation, they lose money. This is a money-making business. So don't go into the courtroom trying to expose the fraud. That's not your job. That's not why you're there. There's another venue for that. The next issue at law is jurisdiction. We already
I'm Aaron Russo. I produced the movie Trading.
Is this a joke, Mike?
No, it's not a joke. No. I produced the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and The Rose with Bette Midler. Many movies. I'm doing a feature film, and my film is about my quest to find out whether or not people pay income taxes. Do you pay an income tax?
Yes, I do.
To find out whether or not people pay income taxes. Do you pay an income tax?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a law that requires you to pay an income tax?
Have I ever read it? You mean in the pages, black and white? No, no.
So you pay the income tax, I assume?
Of late. Well, actually, no, I didn't file last year, but I'm sorry, is this on film? No, I paid my tax.
My question to you is, have you ever seen a law that says you have to pay an income tax?
The law law is that guy that wears that badge and a gun. That's the one that puts you in jail. That's the law. Actually, I can't stand the IRS. Okay. They're evil. Do you have any fear of the IRS?
Not really, because I'm Canadian.
I think it's actually unconstitutional, is what I've heard. But to avoid any hassle, I pay it.
If there was no law and I wasn't afraid of them coming and taking me to jail, absolutely, I wouldn't pay taxes.
Okay, then no, I wouldn't pay income taxes. Oh.
It's a no-brainer. You wouldn't pay.
I wouldn't pay it.
Why would anybody?
Because that's what they tell us we must do, else we're bad Americans. Would you pay it?
No.
Would you pay it?
No.
Why would you pay taxes if you're an actor?
The income tax is not legal because it would be a direct tax and it is not apportioned as the Constitution demands.
If it's against the Constitution, then why are we doing it?
I really expected that speaking to me, but sure.
Then why are we doing it?
I really expected that, of course, there's a law that you can point to in the law book, the code that requires you to file a tax return. Of course there is. Maybe I don't know what it is right then as he was speaking to me, but sure. So naively, I agreed to go off and research it and get back to him. 3.5 months later, I was at that point where I couldn't find the statute that clearly made a person liable, at least not me and most people I know. And I had no choice in my mind except to resign.
I had to leave the IRS because I presented evidence that I had accumulated indicating that the agency was violating the law and violating people's rights. And I asked the agency for a response to my sincere concerns. And the answer I got was that they would not respond to my concerns and that they would provide me with the paperwork necessary to tender my resignation.
The We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education put a full-page ad in the USA Today on July 7th, 2000. And within the body of that ad was a $50,000 challenge for anyone that could show the law. And to me, $50,000 is a lot of money. So I went after that and did the research based on the fact that I thought, let's put this baby to bed. I'm hearing all these rumors, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'll answer these people's questions they're asking me, and then I'll win this $50,000. And, based on the research that I did throughout the year 2000 and that I'm still doing, I have not found that law. I've asked Congress, we've asked a lot of people in the IRS commissioners, helpers. They can't answer, because if they answer, the American people are going to know that this whole thing is a fraud.
I was surprised to hear these highly trained and decorated IRS agents telling me there was no law requiring American citizens to file a 1040 or to pay an income tax on their labor.
I haven't filed an federal income tax return since I left.
I have not filed a tax return since 1999. Approximately 67 million people don't file an income tax return.
No answers! No taxes! No answers! No taxes!
Most people believe that the income tax system is legal and that the revenue from the tax is used in the public interest. However, there is a substantial, conclusive body of evidence that proves that our income tax system represents the most pernicious form of tyranny. It is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated by government against the working men and women of America.
American citizens, along with the foundation, have been asking the IRS to specifically provide them with the underlying legal foundation upon which they administer and enforce the personal income tax laws in our country.
And a lot of people might say, well, gee, if there wasn't an income tax, what would happen to education? They don't understand that education is paid for the most part, out of state and local taxes, your property taxes. People might say, well, how are we going to build and maintain our highways if there's no money coming into the government? We need our highways. There is a tax on every gallon of gasoline that people buy. Proceeds from the income tax do not pay for highway construction. The amount of money that we spend on defense is exactly equal to the amount of corporate income tax. Institutional.
I think we should not want the income tax for several reasons. One is that it is the instrument of totalitarianism. It is the means by which the government can manipulate people.
The federal government itself refuses to provide the American people who are coercively being subjected to this extraction of their private property without any underlying legal justification. There is no law that requires the average American worker in the private sector to pay a direct, unapportioned tax on their labor and compensation for services. There is no law.
Is there a law that requires people to file a 1040?
Not explicitly, but it's certainly implied.
Well, implied by force.
Yeah.
But is there a law?
I can't cite a law, no, I cannot. But, if they think it's the law and they have all the guns.
He was being tried for 4 counts of not filing his income tax.
Okay.
And our question was, well, what is to decide? Either he did or he didn't. It never occurred to us that he might actually be innocent while at the same time not filing. It finally came to the climax. Mr. Harrell looked right at the prosecutor and he said, I will tell you the same thing I have told over and over again to government officials. You show me the law that requires me to file a tax return and I'll be glad to do it. The prosecutor absolutely ignored him. And he started slandering Mr. Harrell. Just started attacking his character.
They're calling us tax cheats, they're calling us fanatics, they're calling us weirdos. I don't care what you call me, but I have one question. Where is the law? Show me the law.
Can't let this turn into a rational debate, because if they do, they lose it. So they have to insult people and say it's frivolous.
We felt like that there was an overall arrogance and that they were railroading Mr. Harrell and wanting us to participate. The judge promised us that he would give us the law. And we looked and we looked and it was not there. We wrote a note to the judge asking for a copy of the law. 10 minutes later, we get a note back. You have everything you need, but there was no law. And he had promised us. At that point, I felt betrayed. I felt like this man promised us the law, and that's what this whole thing is about, the law. We request it, and he still denies us the law.
And the reason they didn't do it was why?
Because there is no law. 2 people, they kept saying, but he's gonna get by with it. And I said, what is he getting by with but his rights? If there is no law, he's not breaking a law. He's just standing on his rights. Are we going to deny him that? That's when this one juror sat back and kind of rolled his eyes and he said, you mean we don't have to pay taxes? You could hear people out in the audience, just in the courtroom, just going, wow, and the judge is just getting red in the face. I mean, he was just livid. And the judge got up and left. I sat there and I thought, this truly is a victory for the people. And I have never felt more patriotic. And I knew that we had done the right thing. I looked at that man.
Are entitled to. Thank you, and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Black, knock knock 'em out black, knock 'em out the box black, knock 'em out black, knock 'em out the box black.
You have now entered the labyrinth. Only truth gonna get showed with no fear and all love for all peoples. And I mean all. But first,
The truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
I tell you, didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you.
and that's how I'm coming. This is how we come.
It was not called Black Muslim at that time.
Now, what's interesting?
Moorish people at that point by these initiates, and that America was Almaricanos. We got the name America from Almaricanos, not from Amerigo Vespucci. And Almaricanos means El Morocco, and that Morocco was the Sultanate of Morocco was the ruler of America at one point. Now, this goes back into a very deep history.
He also knows that
named after the explorer Amerigo Vespucci, but this appears doubtful, like so much of American history, which has transformed a one-time pirate of the family name Griego into an iconic hero named Christopher Columbus. As for America, according to Manly Hall, America is named after the plumed serpent, who is the messenger of the sun. He was the god Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, and in Peru he was called Amaru. From the latter name comes our word America. Amaruca is, literally translated, land of the plumed serpent.
While 1492 is
Now, if you have not clarified the status for the record, you can't bring your law into the court. So status is very important. And no, because in order to have jurisdiction, you must first prove status. Everybody in the courtroom must have status on the record. Why is that so important? Because unless their status is on the record, what country do you represent? Says what law you're here to get justice on, right? Now, if you have not clarified the status for the record, you can't bring your law into the court. So status is very important. And so if you're Moor, and let's say somebody else is Manchurian, and I'll get to that in a minute, when you have two people of different standings in the courtroom, you have to decide what law applies. Is there a treaty between the two? Do they have a constitution? Do they have any other trade agreement or contract that binds them and obligates the parties? That's the question. All right. So if you walk into the courtroom and they immediately start adjudicating, you have no idea what law they're using. And I guarantee you, because status has not been established for the record, they're not using any law that applies to you. And they're not using any law that applies to them. They're simply using corporate policy, which is discretionary. If they like you today, they'll let you off. If they don't like you tomorrow,
you don't have to
they'll
answer
give you
that
some
question.
time.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
For a fine, okay? So status and then jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is going to determine what area, what geographical area encompasses the authority that that judge or that court has. All right? So if you're in a municipal court or a court of common pleas, don't go in there talking about the Constitution, because they don't have jurisdiction to discuss the Constitution with you. Do not go into a state court discussing the Constitution unless it's the state's Constitution, because the United States' Constitution, they have no jurisdiction over, but they won't tell you that. They'll dismiss the case. Different jurisdictions. And don't go into federal court talking about city ordinances. You understand the difference? Okay. Jurisdiction. Then adjudication. Once you get to the part about adjudication, you have to ask the question, do you understand the law that applies to you, that applies to this matter? Because there's two types of jurisdiction, jurisdiction over the matter and jurisdiction over the person. All right? Does the court have both? They must have both in order to proceed. They don't tell you these things, but this is very important. So if the court has gotten to the point of adjudication, all right, which for me, I don't have that problem. But once the court gets to the point of adjudication, then they're ready to start prosecuting. They're ready to find you guilty of something, some kind of way. And the reason for that is because it's a business. And once you enter there and they seize jurisdiction over you, they adjudicate for the sole purpose of getting some money. That's the bottom line. They don't care about you, whether you're innocent or whether you're guilty, none of that. How much money are they going to get out of this? And their little club that they have called the Bar Association, their members have to be fed. So they want to make sure that this one gets fed and that one gets fed. And that's fine, because that's their corporate thing. That's the way they make money. And if they're going to make money being deceitful and all that, that's the karmic baggage they've got to carry. But you don't want to be a participant to it. That's all. Okay. Color of law. Colorable, color means something that pretends to be something that it's not. Colorable court, colorable money, colorable law, colorable people. Any people who call themselves colored, Negro, African American, Indian, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Australian, all of these are colorable labels, but these people for the most part around the world don't even know this. But because they call themselves Chinese, as I was getting ready to say to you, they are part of a corporate nation state as well, because the country of China is Manchuria. The nation state, the corporate ward nation state is China. That is not the country or the sovereignty of the people. The people are Manchurian. All right? You understand? Say anybody who wants to call themselves Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico is a corporate nation state. It is a private, non-profit corporation that has a charter issued by the Moors, where they have the authority to conduct commerce and trade on the island of Borincano. Borincua, right? Borincua. That's the name of the people. Borincano is the name of the island. Puerto Rico is the private nonprofit corporation that has the charter to operate within the geographical boundaries of Borincano. Most Puerto Ricans don't even know that. I go around telling people all the time, you're not this, you're not that. This is who you really are, because people have grown up into slavery for generation after generation in all these corporate nation states who belong to the United Nations, which is a private nonprofit corporation trade association for nation state corporations. Got it? In order to belong to the United Nations, you have to be a corporate ward state, nation state. Otherwise, they don't want you. And they will go to war against a country and take the people out of their sovereign capacity and say they're setting up democracy all around the world so that they can take people out of their sovereign capacity and take them away from the law and impose corporate statute on them. And that's exactly what they do. All right? Now, color of law is in full swing all around the world. All around the world. And they have a clique where they're all intermingled and they all agree to participate together in this game, right? Now, it doesn't matter where you go. Just like most people think you need a passport to travel from company to company to company that are called nation states. So you do need a passport if you call yourself Black or African American or a U.S. citizen or any of those things. Yes, you need a passport to travel from one corporate nation state to another. But when you're traveling from one country to another, you do not need a passport. And those countries will tell you you don't. Depends on what you call yourself. You understand? Now, the reason that we have to have colorable law and colorable courts is because so many of us agree to be slaves. We don't need colorable courts and colorable law. Otherwise, But the people who agree to be bound by the 14th Amendment, which covers civil rights, which covers Negroes and African Americans and Jews and Hispanics and Indians and all these people like that, if you agree to call yourself that, they have to create a statute that applies to you because law doesn't apply to you. So it's not their fault. It's the fault of the people who agree to be outside of their sovereign capacity. Now, the law of the land. The law of the land as it applies to the United States of America and the United States is their constitution. The law of the land, which supersedes that, which if you go and read the supremacy clause of the Constitution, you will see that the treaty, in particular the Treaty of 1787, which was last signed and ratified in 1986, all right, it's re-signed every 50 years, that it's the treaty that is the actual law of the land. Now, that being the case, how do we make that treaty work for us? We always say they're not honoring the treaty. This is the oldest treaty in the world. Did y'all know that? And it's the only unbroken and longest standing treaty in the world. Did y'all know that? Now, that treaty protects us. You need to go get a copy of it, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787. All right, signed by the Emperor of Morocco. Actually, he signed it in the month of Ramadan in the year 1201. All right, which translates into the Gregorian calendar year of 1787 because they added 586 years to our calendar. All right, so in terms of using the law of the land, and when you express these things to them, you don't even have to go into a lot of detail about it because those who rule and those in government and those who sit on those judicial benches know what this doctrine is and they adhere to it. But the problem is there's not enough of us standing up defending it. Okay, how to correct the issue? The people must be in their proper person. The people must act in their sovereign capacity. As the brother said earlier, how do you behave as a sovereign? How do you behave as a sovereign? You behave as a sovereign by not getting so upset and ranting and raving and causing a scene. There's no need to do any of that. As I said in the courtroom, as in with law enforcement, any of that, there's a language of silence. Just like the mummers who march down Broad Street every New Year's and they're playing it up and playing it up. What does mummery mean? Silent mockery. Who are they mocking? Us. All right, but they understand the language of silence and they deal in it all the time with their secret signs and symbols. But don't be angry with them for using these things. Why not? We taught it to them. Okay, don't be angry with them because they have gotten out of control with the power that we gave them. Now we have a situation on our hands where we as Moors refuse to be who we are. In the civil rights movement, there were those who led it who were paid to get us off our square, and we agreed to be there. We agreed to be called black and we're proud of it, remember? Now, who could tell us any different? Now, the Europeans have a dilemma because they've lied to us so much and we have forgotten so much that if they stand up to tell us the truth, would we believe them? The majority of the people who call themselves African American right now, if you tell them they're not from Africa, they'll give you hell. Am I right? Yes, we are. Now, can you imagine you're getting that feedback from them? Can you imagine what they would say to a European who now try to tell them they're not from Africa? You understand? Now you've got Bill Gates who's given $1 billion to the United Negro College Fund, to keep more Negroes out of their sovereign capacity, and they jump right into the boat, right? Play it up to the hilt. Oh, what a great thing he's done. They love him to death. Now, if the Moors try to stand up and say who the man really is, you got all these black people who are going to criticize you. Leave the man alone, they'll say. All right? But we know the truth. So we correct the issue only by standing on our square, whether we're Moors or whether we're not. All right? Let's talk about what law really is. Law is based upon the science of astrology, astrologic. Don't let anybody ever tell you that astrology is for entertainment purposes. It is the science that rules. It is the science that governs. As I said to you, what all law is, all law. all law. Do we praise Allah? Absolutely. Do we praise Christ? Absolutely, because what, not who, what is Christ? Christ is the great I am. And if you know what Islam means, let me tell you this. I, self, law, am master. I am the master of my own fate. I am Allah.
You're all attached with a silver cord, our spirit, which is the real you, and the body the entire time you're alive. Because every night you go out of your body. Everybody does. The spirit, the real you, imagine how bored it would get sitting around waiting for the body to wake up. The body's what gets.
So here we go. Not too much to say or show. Just the proof. The Act of 1740. I declare all Negroes and Indians, free Indians, in amity with the government. Negroes, mulattoes, and mestizos, who are now free, except to be slaves, the offspring to follow the condition of the mother, and that such slave are chattel person. What I'm looking at, y'all looking at the same thing I'm looking at? You see the fact that the Negro laws of the South and using certain names makes you a slave. It says in 1848, the author reads the Negro law of the South Carolina and the State of Agriculture Society of South Carolina at their September semi-annual meeting in Spartanburg Courthouse. The society directed O'Neill to submit it to the governor with the request that he would lay it before the legislation. At its approaching season in November 1848, O'Neill was ordered to be published for the information of the members. O'Neill summarized the 1740 South Carolina laws when he stated, a slave may be consented of his master, acquire and hold personal properties. All thus required is regarded in law that of the master. Across the South, state Supreme Courts supported the position of this law. O'Neill was the only one to express protests against the Evidentiary Act of 1740, arguing the property of received testimony from enslaved African Americans, many of whom by 1848 were Christians, under oath. Negro, slave, or free will feel the sanctions of the oath with as much force as any of the ignorant classes of white people. Christian counties on December 18th, 1848. I don't know that name, can't say that name. From the Committee of the Judicial Agreement on the message from the governor, recommending the purchase of 1,200 copies of the Negro Law in South Carolina, and sent reports of disagreement to the House Representatives for consideration. On December 8th, 1858, Cannon offered a resolution for the military committee to inquire into the expediency of having the Negro Law of South Carolina republished and bound in a separate volumes of the purpose of distributing among the military office of the state and commission of road, bridges, and state. The Negro Law of the South was characterized by Howard Meadows Henry as being an excellent summary of South Carolina slave laws, with the coarse interpretation in narrative style, and with note and comments and even recommendations as to describe changes. It provides examples of opposition to any violation or literacy laws by the white Anglicans. So we're really gonna get down here to the meats and potatoes of section 3. Section 3, Indians and the descendants of Indians are regarded as free Indians in amity with the government until the contrary be shown in the second Proverbs of Section 1 of Act 1740. It's declared that every Negro, Indian, mulatto, or mestiz is a slave unless the contrary can be made to appear. What does that mean? What that mean? It declares that every Negro, Indian, mulatto, and mestizos is a slave unless the contrary can be made to appear. Yet, in the same, it is immediately therefore provided the Indians in amity with the government accepts, in which case the burden of proof shall lie on the defendant, that is, on the person claiming the Indian plaintiff to be a slave. This latter cause of this provision is now regarded as furnished the rule of law, right? The race of the slave Indians or of Indian not in amity to this government, the state, is extinct, and hence the previous part of this provision has no application. Section 4, the term is confined to slave Africans, the ancient barbers and their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as Egypt, Moors and it doesn't apply. So slavery doesn't apply to Egypt, Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as Lascar. Section 5, mulattoes is the issue of white and Negro. Section 6, the mulatto ceases, and a party bearing some slight tainted of African blood ranks it as a white is a question for the solution of a jury. Yeah, I just want to get the just of that to the people, because we all been lied to.
You're entitled to. Thank you, and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. Tell the truth.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
And I am the cipher, known as He Not Nice, part of my life. Welcome to the labyrinth. You have now entered the labyrinth.